It's the maiden edition of Political Circuit, where we trail the big stories in politics, track the people that matter, and take you through a journey that can help reshape opinion and reset agenda in the polity. I am Esther Mopariola. Welcome on board. Today, we'll take a trip to Kogi State, north-central Nigeria, where the electorate will meet at a political confluence on the 16th of November as they have to choose between more than 20 candidates who becomes the next governor of the state. Recently, INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner for Kogi, James Apam, says he is worried about the possible outbreak of violence during the poll in the state. Now, let us put that into perspective with this statement by the candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the North Central state.
I appeal that we do election following all the doctrines of proper election, not introducing thuggery, violence, ballot snatching. To me, that is no election. Our democracy must improve. But I hasten to say that the government must be neutral in the electioneering process. Like I told, nobody has a monopoly of violence. So I advise the other parties not to introduce violence to the election because...
At the weekend, violence broke out between supporters of the PDP's candidate Musa Wada and those of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, in Ankpa. Some sustained injury in the fracas, vehicles were burned, and the two camps are trading blames over the incident. My guest joins me in a moment. Stay with us. Thank you for joining me on the show. Now I have Natasha Akwoti, SDP, the Kogi State governorship candidate. Good to have you here.
Thanks,
on
Esther.
the political circuit. Now we just heard Musa Wada speaking about election violence, potentially what it could be the case. But what do you make of a scenario where election violence is seen as the norm before one is conducted in Nigeria?
Unfortunately, especially in Kogi State, election violence has become a norm. And I firsthand had that experience in the recently concluded senatorial elections on February 23rd. And about what I had to preach all through was peace, peace, and peace. And in as much as SDP and my followers, we were attacked continuously by the APC, Kogi State. I told them not to retaliate. I told them, no, it doesn't make sense when one party shoots, attacks, vandalizes our properties and destroys our banners. I told them, look, if we're all trying to speak for a peaceful election, promoting democracy, and then seeing the growth of our political systems, then we cannot give back violently what we were giving. So I kept on sensitizing my people, and that's why I keep saying, apart from one of my supporters that was killed, we had over 80 of my supporters that were shot and stabbed at various times, but we never, APC will never say that one of their properties was vandalized or any of their supporters sustained injury, because we don't subscribe to violence. And I pray, hopefully, that this next coming elections will...
We do not see something like that.
We don't know. It's
okay, let's
terrible.
quickly get into the nitty-gritty of another part of this discussions, which is to talk about your party's contention against the Electoral Commission, INEC. Briefly walk us through the issues here.
In summary, I'd say that INEC have succeeded, in their own words, in disqualifying me from participating in the forthcoming November 16th elections. And I would like to say this to Nigerians and my supporters in Kogi State, that I am going to fight and resist this injustice to the hilt.
And if you don't happen to get that, what happens?
Oh, we are going to get that. We're going
what makes you so confident?
Because the power actually resides with the people. And an institution like INEC and the Constitution or whatever electoral act was actually created by individuals like myself to serve me, to serve people, to help grow democracy. And I will not sit back and watch some people in INEC actually manipulate these processes to the advantage of a few. I am going to be on the ballot come November 16th. I will insist that I am not disenfranchised.
But the reason why INEC, rejected the nomination of your party is based on age. And one is saying that you're a lawyer. So how come you didn't get to see this gray area, which was pointed out by the Electoral Commission?
I would say that the nomination of the deputy doesn't reside in me, but my party. But not pointing fingers, I'll say that one of the reasons or one of the responsibilities of INEC is actually to mentor and guide and educate political parties through the electoral processes. And if INEC actually had noticed that SDP put forth a deputy governor that has fallen short of the constitutional requirement, which is 35 years of age, then what they ought to do was write a letter or notify us by phone call and say, hey, this is what you have got done, but we are giving you a window of substitution in order to substitute and bring someone more mature. And that was actually what we tried to do. Remind you, the letter from INEC came to us on the 13th of September, and we responded on the 19th, on the 20th, and on 23rd of September, asking for a withdrawal of that candidate and substitution with a 40-year audio engineer. But we were denied. But of course, after much insistence on the 23rd of September, which was the last date of substitution, INEC received that substitution. But then, what they made us understand is the fact that they acknowledged the substitution does not mean they're actually going to act on it. And right now, we're actually in court asking for an injunction, stopping INEC from disqualifying me and instructing them to act upon the substitution which they collected on the 23rd of September.
And how confident do you think you would get this injunction in your favor? Because definitely the Electoral Commission would say they are following the Constitution here. So where do you see this leading to?
Let me start with the very last sentence. You said INEC said that they are following the Constitution in disqualifying or rejecting me. I have before me the Constitution. I also have before me the Electoral Act, which are guidelines for the 2019 election. And I say that nowhere in these two books is it specified expressly that INEC has got the power to, one, reject the nomination of any candidate brought forth by a political party. Nowhere is it stated here that INEC has the right to reject a withdrawal of a candidate, or neither is it stated here that INEC has the right to disqualify any candidate, or worse off. I think we should actually ask, it will be good to have you invite any INEC official so they could tell you, they could guide you on which section did they go by. It's very simple. Here before me, I would draw your attention to the fact that Section 31, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act makes it clear that on one part, political parties should within 60 days submit candidates to INEC who would participate in the elections. And the INEC will, under no circumstances whatsoever, the word whatsoever was stated there, would INEC reject or disqualify these candidates. Now, Section 31, subsection 6, further in that same, in this same book, specifies the powers of the Federal High Court in disqualifying the candidate where found wanting. Then subsection 8 of that same Section 31 states further that that political party, if found wanting again by the court, would be liable to pay a fine of not more than 500,000. Nowhere in this Electoral Act does this state that the political party would not participate. But they said that if the candidate is found wanting, then the candidate will be disqualified and the party can, of course, bring someone else. So what I want to say and make clear here to all Nigerians and Kogites is that INEC is definitely playing someone's card. They sat there, a few of them, of course, because I have got feeders also that most of the directors in INEC are not in tandem with what is happening, and that there was never a board meeting, neither was there a management meeting that actually held and where it was agreed upon that people or political parties were going to be disqualified. There was never a meeting of such. It was just Malam Mahmoud Yakubu and a few others in there that sat there and decided to disqualify me.
Let's look at another issue now. Away from that now, you are contending for the seat of a governor in Kogi State. And I also understand that you contested as a senator.
Yes.
But lost.
I was rigged. I won, but I was rigged.
You have proof to that effect?
Of course I do, yes.
Okay, but why do you think you can win as a governor if given a chance?
Because I do have the people on my side, and I have been able to sell myself as an idea that promotes prosperity, unity, and harnessing our diversity to our greatest advantage. Mind you, before I got into politics, I was the advocate, or I am still the advocate, of the revival of Ajaokuta Steel Company, which is done purposely to drive Nigeria's industrialization. And of course, if you talk about industrialization, you talk about the jobs that we created, the factories, the revenue the country will generate, and all of that. So the bigger dream is to see how Kogi State will be repositioned as the center of industrialization. And the people, the youths that are predominantly unemployed, very smart, intelligent, and hard-working youths have actually keyed into this vision. Now the parents of this youth who have toiled hard day and night to send their wards to school are also key into this vision. So I do not represent I'm not a candidate that represents a particular ethnic group. I'm a candidate that represents a new face of hope and the new face of what democratically elected leader ought to be. So that's actually what translated into my victory at the senatorial elections.
Right.
And let me say this, there were actually 3 main contenders at the senatorial elections that took place on February 23rd. And the APC, of course, been sponsored by the governor himself, myself on SDP, and then PDP. And the PDP gentleman who was a sitting senator and was contesting as a sitting senator, he had 18,000 votes. I on SDP had 48,000 plus votes, while APC had no other choice but to rig me out. And I have proof of being rigged. They utilized multiple ballot thumbprinting of ballot papers and slotting of PVCs.
All right, let's quickly hold your thoughts now. We need to go on a very quick break. You're watching Political Circuit. We have more discussions with Natasha Akpoti. Stay with us. The days are counting and stakes are high, and I still have Natasha Akpoti of the Social Democratic Party taking us on a journey ahead of the 16th November governorship poll in Kogi State. Now let's look at your chance as being the next governor in Kogi State. You are from Kogi Central,
yes,
and it is believed that Kogi East holds the popular vote. How popular is the SDP to garner the massive support?
First to start, that SDP is not a new party in Kogi State. We had late Stephen Achema, who actually brought SDP to Kogi in 1991, I'd say. And pretty much the White Horse is a household idea. But I'd say that immediately after my senatorial elections, we had a lot of people who just volunteered and wanted to join the party, and we incorporated them. So we have built a solid structure across the entire state. And we're predominantly known to be a very peaceful party, progressive. We don't have the baggage, with due respect, of the 2 political parties. And mind you, SDP does carry on the dream of late MK Abiola. And if you would recall, that was the time we had the finest breed of politicians during that time. And in as much as Nigeria actually remembers and appreciates that very peaceful election which brought in MK Abiola, I would say that this is a chance for everyone to give a chance to SDP in Kogi State, so Nigerians can for once have a feel of what it means to have a purpose and people-driven governance. I think as much as you have this desire or a dream to see a better Kogi State, do you think perhaps the time is ripe for a woman to take that mantle of leadership? It has always been ripe. I guess probably women just have not really tapped into their inner strength. It's always been there. No one has ever stopped a woman from attaining great heights politically. And as a matter of fact, right now there's a larger yearning, because almost like when you've tried something over and over again and it's failed, then you try the other gender. I mean, look at Nigeria today. We've had predominantly male leaders, presidents, vice president, with due respect, over the years, mind you, and governors of the 36 states have been men all this while. And if Nigeria is still in such a dilapidated economic and social state, then why don't you, I mean, something is not going on well. And that's because we've been silencing the contribution of one of the genders. God did not make any mistake when he made both gender. One, a woman, she has the natural nurturing ability. And I believe every woman should be given a chance to translate her nurturing, mothering ability to the society. We are more patient, we are more tolerant, and it's been proven also that economies that are being run by women or led by women actually have less corruption, less violence, more tolerance, more progressive growth. Take, for example, Rwanda. That's it. Rwanda presently has about 68% of its leaders as women.
Now, some would disagree with you with that argument, because we also had a case where we had a female leader in our country and she was charged with corruption issues. But that being said, what about the opportunity for people like yourself who are denied this responsibility to come out and say, okay, I want to contest? What's your advice to them, for instance? Because there's this belief that a woman's place is not in politics. She is to, man the home or be the home front and all of that. What do you think? What's your advice to young ones who think that, the place for the woman has not come?
I say again that no one has actually, on the face of it, denied the women the chance. It's just that women have not come together and pulled their efforts to say, okay, you know what, we're going to support each other. And if one woman achieves it, then it's her duty to mentor and groom and support the younger generation up on that same path. So we have seen the Aba Women Riot. These women, they were predominantly illiterates, but they came together and said, okay, we do not want our societies to be run this way by the whites. So we have had women over time. We've had Queen Idia, we've had Moremi, we've had Queen Amina of Zaria, who did the northern Nigeria that we boast of today, was actually carved by that woman. So over our history, women have played roles. But somehow, our educational system or the society have just trampled down on women's role in building societies, contributing towards stronger communities and statehood and nationhood. And I'm just going to call on women and say, you know what, it's not that scary. You just have to stand up and put forth your abilities, your content, so people can see you beyond just being a woman. And I'd also like to call on women across, women in business, women in religious sectors, and wives of ministers or governors or even female ministers themselves. When you see a woman stand up, it's your duty to embrace her. It's a duty to embrace and groom and vote that woman in. Because one woman, when she speaks for every other woman. And nobody actually is more concerned than a child's development or a community's development than a woman. Would you respect our main gender? And as a matter of fact, no person actually cares so much more for the growth of a home, as much as it concerns the husband or the brother or the father, than a woman, daughter and wife herself. So when you empower a woman or give a woman the right to sit upon the determination of the taxes and policies of any state, that then you are setting that state on the right path of development. And that I'm very proud of Kogi State, because I bet you we're going to show Nigeria what democracy is all about and what true leadership is all about. The whole country is waiting for Kogi State.
All right, let's look at still on this issue with the governorship. Now, for instance, now the governor of the state, there's this belief that you hate Yahaya Bello.
Hate, that's a very strong word. I don't hate him.
So what do you have against him?
Oh my goodness. Let's clear this. I do not hate him. What I detest is the system which he represents. And unfortunately, Yahaya Bello, being a young governor, actually he still has the next few months, he has up until January when he leaves office and hands over to me. He has a chance, or he's had a chance to transform the community, the state, and show that he's actually got some vibrant, smart, creative reforms to put forward. But what he's done, he's just taken the state back down the retrogressive path. We've had, I think Kogi State right now is one of the poorest states in the country. Salaries are not being paid. There's practically no development whatsoever. The private sector is completely, it's dead. And for some reason, we have such huge debts to pay. I think Kogi State so far has the largest bailout debt of 50.8 billion. I begin to ask, where's the money? So I do not hate him, but I despise the system and what he stands for, that he had a chance to make a difference. Look at Oyo State, Makinde. Look at what the governor of Zamfara State is doing. Even Edo State, Obaseki, these are fine men who do not care about being on the media, all that, but they work. And we're beginning to see the reforms that it's not that difficult to lead people once your focus is strengthening the people. So I don't hate him, no, with due respect, no, but I don't like the system and what he presents. I feel he would have done better. And he has the next few months to be better, starting from the elections, because he's going to contest this election as a governor. So ensuring the safety of lives and property is his responsibility. When I'm on the ballot, in as much as he's going to be on the ballot as well, it is his duty to protect me and every SDP member. It is Yaya Bello's duty to protect every PDP's candidate and property, because he's the governor. Right. So I think that's a litmus test for him to see how serious he is. I mean, he's been getting awards as the, what's it called? He's been awarded the Security Award that has been driving, making most security reforms, which I doubt. But that's on the other side. Hey, I don't hate you, but I don't like what you represent. And
okay, now for what you've said so far, definitely you claim that INEC has no right to disqualify you on whatsoever grounds based on the Constitution. But in all of this, do you still have faith in the Electoral Commission as currently constituted in terms of giving us a free and fair election?
I would say right now I have a bit more faith in the Judicial Commission. So, and I pray that the judge that's going to sit upon my case would apply justice. But do I have faith today in INEC as a whole? No, I don't. I do believe that INEC falls amongst many of the institutions that ought to experience drastic reforms. INEC was established to be neutral, but right now I feel witch-hunted. It's like INEC has suddenly become the tool that is being used to witch-hunt oppositions. And I feel INEC was even stronger during Professor Jega's time. It was a bit more pragmatic, and I thought by now it would have progressed. But right now, INEC has regressed under Malam Mahmoud Yakubu's tenure.
In terms of reforms, so what areas of reforms are you trying to look at?
Oh, quite a lot. First, let me bring in a little bit of humor. We all watched the Big Brother Nigeria, and it's so interesting to see that even though it's a soft sale, what's it called, television program, right, but we're able to see how Mnet and the Big Brother Nigeria organizers were able to collate, manage 240 million votes that cost about probably under 10 billion naira. And then we begin to look at INEC that probably today sits as one of the
So in other words,
huge,
if you review the system,
of course, transparency, we should be able to vote using our phones, right, BVN, our passports, you know, you impute all your personal data and you vote from the comfort of your homes electronically. It makes it cheaper and it makes it more effective and it prevents rigging. But of course, that tells you some people would not want to apply that because one, there are people that want to make some kickbacks from all the humongous contracts that will be given, and some want to use this manual way just to rig and put in their preferred candidate.
And that's a fine place to leave it right now. Natasha Akpoti, SDP Kogi State Governorship candidate, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Esther.
And that's all for this week's episode of Political Circuit. You can follow us on our social media platforms for updates. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram using the handle at TVC News NG. You can also get details of all the stories we're reporting on our website, tvcnews.tv. Until the next one, I am Esther Mokwariola. Bye for now.